So we have some pretty interesting news regarding the next generation of the Xbox, and you guys know the next generation of the Xbox line is going to be coming out in holiday 2020, so it's basically coming out this year. And as time goes on, it really does seem like we are getting more information about the upcoming Xbox Series X that Microsoft is going to be revealing. As we speak right now, it does look like we do have some more news regarding the Xbox Series X. It actually looks like right now they did confirm this, that it looks like for the first 2 years of the Xbox Series X being on the market, we're not going to be getting any exclusive games to that platform, which is actually kind of unfortunate. And I really do think I have a lot of mixed feelings regarding this, and I'm going to talk about it in this video. First off, I think that's actually a bad idea, especially when you look at the Xbox One line. The Xbox One line already didn't sell well from Microsoft. It sold, I think, roughly about 40 something million units, and that's still nothing to sleep on, because that's still 40 something million units they did actually manage to sell when it comes to the Xbox One line of systems. However, they did do a lot of things wrong when it comes to the Xbox One line of systems. And going to talk about the Xbox One line of systems, one of the biggest problems with the Xbox One line of systems is going to be the exclusivity towards the actual system. And when it comes to exclusive games for the Xbox One line, Microsoft really missed a big opportunity here. First of all, they had the same run-of-the-mill exclusive games they had pretty much for years on the Xbox line of systems, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you look at what Microsoft actually can provide when it actually comes to the Microsoft Xbox, they do have some pretty killer exclusives. But the other thing was they actually messed it up, because a lot of these games you can get on Game Pass now, and the unfortunate thing is Game Pass is on the PC. It does give a lot more people actually opportunity to play these games, which they would maybe otherwise not be able to play these games. But just the fact that they weren't exclusive to the Xbox One, maybe a lot of people didn't have a reason to go out and buy an Xbox One. And then on top of that, they really didn't have any new exclusives that were hot, fresh, that people really wanted to play, like I said, because all of them were rehashed games. Not, again, that's necessarily a bad thing, but just the fact that they actually didn't bring any new games to the table. We had things like Halo, we had things like Gears of War, Forza, Crackdown. We did get Sea of Thieves, but let's face it, Sea of Thieves was pretty much a big flop. And it really does seem like right now, when it comes to the Microsoft branded Xbox, Microsoft really doesn't know what they actually want the Xbox to be. Do they want it to be this killer console that everyone's going to buy and everyone's going to put under their TV? Or are they really trying to branch out and do things like PC deals and really have an ecosystem where things will be running on the Xbox and things will also be running on something like the PC? And how many Xboxes are they going to have on the market? Because the news just broke, of course, like I said, and I just said this again in this video, Microsoft wants all exclusive games to be on both the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One for the first 2 years of the next Xbox being on the market. And I think that's actually a downside, because if you look at it, the thing is though, how are you going to entice people to really jump on the bandwagon when it comes to the next Xbox if all your exclusive games on that system, like for instance Halo or whatever comes out around the 2-year time period for the Xbox Series X, is going to be also playable on the Xbox One? But if you look at it from an actual standpoint from Microsoft and a company and a business model, I really do think Microsoft may actually be headed in the right direction. Because if you look at something like Microsoft is really trying to make sure that they're actually trying to please the fan base and the player base, because they don't want to make sure that people who can't afford something like an Xbox Series X to be left in the dust. So I get why Microsoft, for at least the first 2 years, would want to make sure all of the exclusive games would be on something like the Xbox Series X and then the Xbox One line. But then again, I guess it does kind of still make people enticed to go buy something like an Xbox Series X, because if you think about it, the Xbox One, especially if you're running something like the Xbox One VCR that came out in 2013, or even the Xbox One S that was pretty much a redesign of the Xbox One that came out in 2013, those systems are really starting to age, and you can see some games don't play in full resolution, or maybe they don't play in the best frame rate as well, and things like that. So it may be still enticing, even if there's no exclusives for the first 2 years, for people to pick up an Xbox Series X console if they own something like an an Xbox One, or if they own something like the Xbox One S. It's going to be a little bit less enticing if you have like an Xbox One X, the one that came out that supports 4K resolutions and supports 60 frames per second and things like that when it comes to the actual games, and the games play substantially better. It's going to be less appealing to them because they won't really have a reason to actually grab the system day one, because like I said, all the first party titles will be playable on last gen systems for the first 2 years. But like I said, I do understand that they really want to be in good ties with their fan base, and they want to make sure that people feel like they can still be supported for the first 2 years. But let's face it, everyone who owns something like an Xbox One branded system is eventually going to move on to something like the Xbox Series X, or the next evolution of the Xbox. So you might as well buy one as soon as possible, let's face it. And like I said, performance on some of those games that are going to be exclusive to the Xbox brand, that are both going to be backwards compatible for the first 2 years, are probably going to play substantially worse on last gen hardware. I remember when I had something like the Destiny. I did play Destiny 1 way back in the day, and when I played Destiny 1 way back in the day, I actually didn't play on modern day console. I actually played on last gen hardware, so I played on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 version of that game, and that game did not run well at all. Like for instance, that game had frame rate issues, and it didn't have the best resolution. You could really see that the consoles really did show their age by that point. So I'm assuming that some of these games that are going to be cross generation, going from the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, that are both going to be playable on both systems the first 2 years, are probably going to have some problems on the current gen hardware. So that may be enough to entice people to actually get the current gen console when it actually comes out in holiday 2020. So overall, I really do think that this is a very questionable move from Microsoft. On one hand, I understand why they would do it, but on another hand, I don't understand why they would do it. If they're really trying to get people to buy their console, wouldn't you want to have exclusives right out the gate that only work on something like the Xbox Series X? Because apparently, time and time again, it is kind of proven a lot of people do gravitate towards these systems because exclusive games do make people want to play these systems. And if you have that one hot killer game that you can only get on something like the Xbox Series X right out the gate, then a lot of people are going to gravitate towards it, and a lot of people would not buy that system otherwise, because they see that one hot game that they can't play on like their PlayStation or like their Nintendo or like their Xbox One. But now that's pretty much going to be a little bit a different story when the Xbox Series X comes out in holiday 2020, and I'm very curious to see where Microsoft really does take the Xbox Series X. And it's actually going to be very interesting, since like I said, it looks like Microsoft really doesn't know what they want the Xbox Series X, or the next generation of the Xbox, to really be. Anyway guys, this is Wayne from MyTechNews, signing out.